Hi guys, we are back with another nail video, and in today's video I am going to be practicing French tip because that's what I've been working on. It's getting better at my smile lines and just doing French in general. I don't get too many people asking for French, however, as of lately, in the past month, I've had quite a few. So I want to get better at it. To my subscribers and those that watch my I do apologize. I have not been posting as of lately. However, it's for good cause because since February, I had like just a lot of customers coming to me. So I really didn't have the time to hit record on my phone or set up and things like that. So now that I have more free time, I am going to be getting into doing more videos. So just stay tuned. Alright, so what I did here was I created a nail bed, of course, for this rubber hand. And I used C-curve tips because I wanted to get more practice on how to work on top of nail beds that are naturally C-curved. So what I noticed is putting the tip back a little further on C-curve tips, especially if you don't have any C-curve tips, that kind of negates the lifting. But nowadays they make C-curve tips, so it's just probably best to have some if you are a nail tech, or if you do nails, just to purchase some C-curve tips that you can shape whatever shape. But I am going in and re-gluing this pinky because it popped off. I think my room was really cold, so yeah, I'm just putting that tip back on there. Kind of hard to glue tips on a cold hand. It's a little easier on real people because their body heat kind of help activate the glue. So we got that tip back on. I just trimmed down underneath the number of the tip. Now I am going in with my Mia Secret Cover Blush Acrylic, and we are going to be doing a cut crease French tip, okay? And not too many just social media outlets explain the difference between the ways that you can do French. You can draw it on, or you can do cut crease. And cut crease is where you take the acrylic and you create that French with the acrylic. It's called a cut crease. So our smile line is going to be where that acrylic meets the other color. And we're going to perfect that later on by filing it. Now they do sell, like, your Amazon or whoever, all the nail supply places, they sell what's called a acrylic acrylic cutter, and it's somewhat easier. If you're not good at shaping the acrylic, just purchase an acrylic cutter, and it's like a wheel, and it comes with different shapes. It's a metal, most of the time it's metal, and you can use that. You just lay the acrylic and then use the acrylic cutter to cut that smile line for you. However, I'm trying to save on space and things like that because I have a lot of nail stuff, so I have not bought one of these. However, I did use an acrylic cutter when I was in school and it worked really well, so you can always purchase that. However, I'm doing this just by hand. So you're going to start off by laying that first bead, and some people, they just do it from the cuticle down. They grab enough. This is more beginner friendly, doing it this way, because then if you don't grab enough acrylic, you're not trying to drag it down. It's just to make sure that there's enough. So lay that first bead wherever you want that French to start, wherever you want that smile line to end up, and then work your way back towards the cuticle. So once again, you can lay that first bead wherever you want. And this helps, honestly, this way helps to make sure that your smile lines are even if you're doing it on more than one finger. And then you just shape the acrylic. I am using, well, that bead was kind of more wet, but it's a medium bead. I'm using medium beads. You don't want to use too dry beads because what will happen is that acrylic will dry on you, and you'll just have a hump of acrylic there, and then you'll have to file it. I mean, it's fixable, but you'll just have to spend more time filing. And if you're anything like me, you don't want to file a whole bunch. So just try to practice your bead ratio and things like that. So I'm just shaping that acrylic, And then I'm going to lay my cuticle bead next and blend it down towards the previous bead. All right, so this look that I'm doing on this set is inspired by a prom look because we are in prom season, and I can't help but notice all of the beautiful prom pictures out there, the different, tuxedos and gowns and shoes and hairstyles and makeup. So I was looking online on Facebook specifically, and I saw this beautiful dress that this young lady was asking for nail inspo pics for, and I was looking through the comments and there were some gorgeous nails, and I couldn't pick between one style that I wanted to do as an inspiration set, so I just kind of took from different ones. However, the color was inspired by that post. It was a beautiful blue gown. So we're going to be doing some blue, some glitter, and some gold on this set, as well as clear, because we're going to encapsulate this later, just for filing's sake. Now, once you lay, and there goes the glitter. This is by D&D. It is a white kind of iridescent glitter. It reminds me of like shiny snow. Like, you know how when it first snows and the snow is just glistening off the sun? That's what it looks like. Also, we're going to be using some Madam Glam. I believe this is the color Jessica. Don't quote me on it, because I'm doing this voiceover way after the fact. I did these nails like maybe last week, almost a little over a week ago, and I have not been able to do the voiceover. I kind of was contemplating if I wanted to even do a voiceover, but I think this video deems a lot of explaining. So now that the acrylic is cured, I am taking my 8080 grit file and I am just kind of sharpening that edge a little bit. You don't want to foul too much. You just want to do enough to where you have a clean surface and a clean smile line, because we are going to push a different color acrylic up against that. Now, if it overlaps, that's perfectly fine. You'll just have to file before you encapsulate. And yeah, so I'm taking my blue and that glittery white by D&D, and I am just kind of making some swirls and kind of ombreing. It was supposed to be marble, but it had more of an ombre effect, if anything. And I'm just pushing that right up to the smile line as if it was one surface. If it was just one acrylic color. You don't want any gaps or breaks in your smile line, and you want to make sure you have enough product so that way when you do file, you're not missing any acrylic and you won't have to go back in and fill it. And I am adding some gold foil right in that wet acrylic. Gold foil pieces, they adhere very easily. It will even adhere to a dry surface, so you can probably hold off a little bit on doing that step if you are a beginner, but just be careful not to go over the foil once you've placed it, because then it will just look like it's encapsulated inside of the acrylic. You want that gold foil piece to look like it's on top of the nail. So I'm just patting everything in place because acrylic tends to move and shift a little bit while it's still curing. Here I am going in with another gold piece, just kind of doing some abstract nail art, and I have a smaller piece. Now, I will say in the beginning when I started using foil pieces, I was not the best at placement. So it is best to just practice, okay? And also study other people's work. Like, look at nails on Pinterest, look at nails on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, what have you, wherever you can look at nails. Because that is going to help train your eye on what you need to do, and your hands, your hand and eye coordination. It's going to train your eyes and hands to, create what's aesthetically sound. Okay. I used to tell myself not to look at other people's work because I didn't want to copy and stuff like that, but I found myself not building nails correctly or not doing designs and placements correctly because I just didn't know, where to place stuff, especially rhinestones. I've gotten so much better with placing rhinestones just from simply watching other people work on YouTube or looking at pictures and seeing where the big stones go versus the, the smaller ones. So it really does help to study. Um, I create these videos mainly because I like to go back and look at my work. And watching yourself work is a great way to critique your work and to fix, you know, any problems that you're having. Like, for instance, I used to suck at filing and shaping nails because I dreaded it so much. I still don't like filing, but I understand sometimes, a lot of the times, it's necessary. No matter how straight you think you have your nails, you always want to file them after you've completed an enhancement or whatever. Filing is very essential. And most of the time, if you're not using like a tip that's already the shape that you want, and even still, sometimes you need to debulk those tips, filing beforehand, before you lay any acrylic, polygel, or what have you, that is very essential too. It's only going to make the shape pop more, and it's only going to make your job a little easier. Okay, so now we are on the pinky nail, and this nail is going to be all blue. And your bead ratio is very important. You don't want that acrylic to run right off the nail. And if you do find yourself using a wet bead, there's a couple different things you can do. You can just wipe it off and start over, or you can push that acrylic towards the center of the nail, which you've seen me do a couple times where I picked up a relatively wet bead versus a medium bead. Medium beads are still going to move. However, see, this is a medium bead because it's running, but it's not running right off the nail. It's not super wet. Medium beads, you should be able to push the product to the middle of the nail and still have time to wipe your brush and get back to the nail and shape and mold and sculpt that acrylic. If you find yourself struggling with acrylic, one thing I noticed too that helps, work with polygel. Polygel is going to help you with shaping because with polygel, you don't have to worry about bead ratio. Also with polygel, you don't, it's more so shaping with polygel. The only thing you have to do with polygel is make sure that your shaping is good and that your brush isn't sticking to the product. That's the only thing you have to really do with polygel. Then of course you have to cure it in the UV lamp. So if you are a beginner, I say start off with your shaping, learning your shaping by just using polygel. And then you can practice your bead ratio with acrylic. They have these little sheets that you can buy. Or if you don't want to buy the sheets, just use some nail tips. Maybe glue them onto a stick and just practice. Practice, practice, practice. 90% of nails is practicing. So just keep that in mind. If you are someone that loves doing nails or you admire the art of doing nails, congratulations and welcome. Just that it's going to be a lot of trial and error. So I still have my practice hands, even though I am in my own little space and I do it professionally. I'm never too good to practice. And there's so many different designs nowadays. Practicing is in your favor because there's so many different designs. And the more designs that you can do, the better, because that widens your creativity, that widens the amount of people that you can service because you know how to do so much. So always say practice. That's rule number one. You have to practice, especially if you're taking it seriously. Even if you're doing your own nails, just practice. It is a lot tougher to do your nails on yourself than on other people. It can be difficult on other people, if they're not used to getting their nails done and they're not holding their hands right, things like that. All right. So I'm just placing those gold foil pieces, and I went in with some of that glitter because it's so clear. It's almost like a clearish white. I think it's just clear in that iridescent glitter, honestly, because it's not giving white, so it's more so clear. I just laid some of that on the middle finger to just kind of give a little pizzazz and depth to the nail. And now I'm just walking that acrylic down by wiping the sidewalls, if y'all can see that. And this bead is kind of more on the wet side. However, I still proceeded with the bead because I felt like I could work with it. Another tip too, I know I'm kind of all over the place because I'm just watching this video and doing a reaction. Those foil pieces, y'all see how they're right there on the napkin? If you break those up beforehand, if you know that you're going to be putting foil in the nail, break up your pieces beforehand. And then try not to have any fan or any, like, anything blowing by it because it's so light. It will blow. Even if you just huff and puff out of your mouth, they'll blow all over the place. So just try to, break those up beforehand to save some time. And that'll cut down on your time as well. Sorry if I have the sniffles. The weather just kind of got cold out of nowhere. Yesterday was like scorching hot, and today I have the heat on in my house because it is so cold outside. So hopefully it warms up. I am in the Midwest. If y'all do not know what region of the country I'm in, I'm right in the center of the country, and it is cold today, and it's supposed to be kind of cool tomorrow as well. And then next week it's supposed to warm back up. So after we just had gorgeous weather. So now we're on the pointer finger, and I'm doing the same thing. In this video, I wanted to get a lot closer so y'all can really see what I am doing. And I think I got a good angle for the most part. You can really see how I'm working my brush, how I'm working the acrylic. I will say that these cuticles are ate up on this hand. This hand has seen better days. And I have a left and a right. However, I just like to do one on camera. I don't like to do both of them. But if you want to see both of them, let me know. But these cuticles, they're not like real cuticles. First of all, when I first bought the hand, it was the cuticles were kind of long, so I did cut them back because, yeah, on a real hand we would push that back, And then also too, they got messed up from me ripping the nails off. So here I am laying some of those gold moons and stars. You can get these off of Amazon, Shein, Etsy, wherever you buy nail stuff. Pretty much they sell them everywhere. Everyone has them. I'm just laying that on top of the wet acrylic so that way I can encapsulate with clear over it. Now if you're like me, I'm a sensory person. A lot of the times if I have like rhinestones or anything sticking off the nail, I will just pick at it. So I decided to encapsulate mine. So if you have those gold moons and stars, you can also encapsulate them. They don't have to just sit on top of the nail. And that way it ensures that the design lasts longer. So this is the thumb, and we're going in with that iridescent white color or clear or whatever it is. And I think that nail looks stunning just like that. So I am doing, this is considered the 3-bead method. However, if you need to go in with more beads, you can. And honestly, when I do it this way and I start at the tip, my shaping be on point. I have not mastered the art of, especially with long nails, I have not mastered the art of getting one bead and dragging it all the way down the nail. And I wouldn't suggest that just because it just doesn't look, I don't care who does it, it just doesn't make the nail look good. And then you still have to build an apex. Because these nails are long, you want to build an apex. Even on the straight tips, you want to build an apex. An apex is going to ensure that that nail can withstand pressure. It's going to strengthen the nail, and it just looks better too. I'm not a fan of just flat nails. However, I'm not a fan of bulky ones either. So I do see those straight tip nails where it's just like they're thick through and through, from the cuticle to the tip. So I try not to do that. I try to build it and try to make it look as natural as possible, and that is why I'm practicing right here. Okay, so I did an ombre on this nail, and I don't know what I was thinking, because now that I'm watching this back, I'm just like, I'm not a fan of it, but I'm sure somebody out there like it. Feel free to take the idea. But now we are just kind of taking that glitter and going back over where that ombre is to give more depth to the nail. So I will be going in with my clear and encapsulating all of this. And before I do that, I am using some more gold flakes just for continuity to make the nails look more, fluid. Now, I used to struggle with that, y'all. I used to try to do like each nail different, and it would look like a mess to me. But if you use the same color scheme, or you stick to about, I don't know, anywhere between 2 to 3 colors, then your nails will look, you know, more, I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but it'll just look better. The more colors you have, the busier the nails are going to look. And if it's not like you're doing like stripes or polka dots or something like that, then it kind of gets a little bit messy. Unless you're doing each nail a different color. But even that, you need to use color theory and have a flow. You can't just start designing nails. One thing I learned in the last 3 years, you can't just whip out a bunch of colors and be like, okay, I'm going to do a mashup. It's going to look hideous. I don't care how much shaping, I don't care how much talent, some things just don't look good. Okay, you want to be able to make the nails catch the eye, and the eye is like, ooh, drawn to it, not running away from it. So you want to just make things look appealing, and you want to make sure that your nails have a great aesthetic overall. So what I've been telling myself lately is to treat the hand as one. Even though you have 5 separate fingers, if you're gonna do like one nail different or a couple nails, make sure it has something to match with it. You can do one French tip on a set. Just make sure it has a color that is in the other fingers. So you want to treat the hand or the set, both hands, as one. That's just a little designing 101. And I have not taken any designing classes. Me personally, I feel like, and I know it doesn't come easy for everybody. See how I just wiped that off? That's because the bead was way too dry. So I'm getting a fresh bead. All right. So for me personally, I feel like designing classes is a waste of money. Because I just know that I can teach myself anything by looking and by imitation. If I watch a video on it, there's everything on YouTube. So if I watch a video on YouTube on how to do a specific design, I can learn that design. But like I said, I know that doesn't come natural to everyone, and some people just love taking nail classes. Me, I'm not a fan of doing that because I can learn a lot of the same techniques for free. I don't want to pay for stuff, so already got to pay for continuing education. So yeah. So I'm just encapsulating this gold metal piece, and I have a little star there as well. Now with this can be a little tricky. You want to make sure that you have enough clear to where there are no corners sticking out of the acrylic. So you may have to go over it 2 or 3 times depending on how big of a bead you get. I am using an IBD size 10 acrylic Kolinsky brush, and I mean, I guess I could grab bigger beads with this, but I'm just like working where I can control it. So I'm not grabbing like super big beads with this brush, but relative to the size of the brush. You want to make sure with your beads that you're able to control it on top of the nail. I think when I started out too, that was one of my problems. I was grabbing way bigger beads, but I was working with the size 8 brush as well. So when I upped my brush size, I noticed that I had more control of that product. And I'm a little bit out of frame, but don't mind that. But y'all see how well that clear just worked? Like it didn't run off the nail. It didn't dry on me. That was like the perfect medium bead. So another tip too that I learned, no one really explained this, but listen up, y'all hearing it here. So when you're working on false nails and using acrylic, you want to pull that acrylic off the free edge. I used to struggle so bad with one of my sides looking like it was over filed. Y'all know what I mean? When you look at the nail straight on from eyes view, like say your tips are pointing at your eyes, like you're about to poke yourself in the eye. And one side of the free edge would be like there's hardly anything there. A way to combat that, if that's something you're struggling with, I'm gonna tell y'all my secret. and something that I notice a lot of nail techs do, they pull that acrylic off the nail. So when I'm working down, say for instance this finger that I'm working on, you pull it off. You bring it all the way down. Grab enough acrylic to where you just break it off the tip. That's why you see nail techs doing that. They'll take that acrylic and they'll just like cut it. They'll bring it all the way to the free edge and then cut it. That will ensure that your sidewalls and your free edge have enough product and it doesn't look over fouled. Because what you're going to essentially end up having to do, and watch me do it here, because I tend to do it, but you're going to essentially have to foul the other side off and run the risk of chipping, breaking, and over fouling. See there? Just snip that little piece off. That's going to make sure that you have even nails horizontally. And you want them to be, smooth vertically, but horizontally from sidewall to sidewall. Another way to make sure that your nails are even and they're not like one side is higher than the other, when you lay that initial bead, make sure you're wiping your sides and make sure that you're placing that bead in the center of the nail and you're patting. Now, before you start moving that acrylic after you lay your first bead, you want to make sure that you have product sidewall to sidewall, so horizontally. You don't want to start moving it and then there's nothing to the left or the right. You want to make sure that, especially in the cuticle area, you want to make sure that there is enough product on both sides of the nail before you start moving that bead down. And typically that will get your shaping a lot better. I only heard one other nail tech explain it like that on YouTube. And when she did that, like I was like, oh my gosh, where's she been my whole life? It's little simple stuff like that. If you're new to doing acrylic, it's a new process. And if people don't tell you, you won't know. So just little tricks and stuff like that. I like sharing things like that. So now we are filing. The nails are dry. You want to make sure they make a clicking sound before you get into filing. I'm using my 80/80 grit file. So things are going, just a little update. Things are going well for me at my salon suite. Um, I'll say the hardest part is like marketing myself and getting the word out. Even though I know you're probably going to say like, oh, get on Instagram, Facebook, and just put the word out. It's not that easy, okay? Because there are so many nail techs in the world now. You really have to do something to make yourself stand out. I don't care how great your work is. And it's not just me. I see lots of great work out there that only get like a few likes or if any, and I'm like, dang, and also we should know too that just because, someone follow or like you doesn't mean they're coming to you if you actually do nails in real life. So that's a misunderstanding that a lot of people have. I know that there's people out there with thousands of people following them. That doesn't mean that they're getting those thousands of people coming to them. Some people just, might follow them. You might not get their nails done per se. So social media doesn't always, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I'm just saying it always doesn't mean customers. The amount of followers you have to actual clients to get them to convert to clients is crazy. And I know because I did a study. So to get at least 10 customers in your chair, you're probably going to have at least 1,000 likes or, follows, subscribers, whatever platform you're on any given platform to get just 10. And then there's no guarantee in that 10 that they'll either come back and be repeat customers and so on and so forth. So it's a constant uphill battle, and it actually takes years to build your clientele to where you have those repeat customers, those people that aren't going anywhere else, they're loyal. Okay, and there's different things you can do, such as like loyalty programs and things like that, to actually keep customers coming back to you. and satisfied. So it's a lot that goes into it. However, um, it just keeps every day uh, being a new day. Like, I don't like monotony. And with nails, it's so not monotonous. You do different stuff every day. You meet different people every day. You get different requests every day. You get different ideas every day. So I love it because of that. However, it can be tiring and draining sometimes. However, this is my passion, so I'm not giving up. I'm in it for the long haul. Now, after filing, we are buffing with a 3-way buffer, and I will rinse this hand off at the sink, and y'all will see the final product. I think these nails turned out very, very cute. However, there's some things that I feel like I could have done differently, like I feel like the cut crease isn't as defined as I wanted it to. However, I'm bringing y'all on the journey of me practicing. So, but anyways, back to what I was saying though. Like, yeah, every day is a new, and I love that. So we wipe the nails off. Now I am taking some Swipe, I believe it is. It's like some nail surface cleanser. And I'm just wiping off the nail before I go in and top coat. I didn't do any other drawing or anything else like that on top of these nails because I just didn't want them to be too busy. So I will be going in with my IGEL Beauty top coat and curing. It's a no wipe top coat. We're going to cure that for 60 seconds. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If y'all have any requests for any other videos, make sure you comment below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like this type of content where I am explaining everything that I'm doing and giving y'all these nail gems. Also, I like to talk about the business side of nails because that is important for those of us that are doing it professionally and we take clients on a daily. So make sure you subscribe, and thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching this video. And until the next one, I can't wait to see what y'all have for suggestions on my next one. So yeah, just leave it down in the comments. Thank y'all so much. Peace.